Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to go over the NFL for Sunday, November 24th. And we're going to start with the first game. We're just going to do the odds analysis, going over the expected value and the splits as well, as they are currently a few hours before game time on Sunday. And we're only going to do these Sunday games. We're going to get to Monday on Monday, but we're only going to do these Sunday games when the odds are fresh. Today, Sunday, November 24th. But yeah, Minnesota versus Chicago. Minnesota opening money line at minus 225. Chicago opening money line at plus 185. And these numbers here have just been reduced. 2 plus 25 equals 27. And that's how we get these values right here. But yeah, let's get started. Minnesota is currently on the money line at minus 184. Chicago is plus 154. The spread is looking like this: minus 3.5 for the Vikings, plus 3.5 for the Bears, minus 105, minus 115 costs respectively. And of course, that minus 105 is a sweet spot. Opening plus 3, minus 120. Chicago opened as a favorite on the spread. And despite being an underdog on the money line. That's strange. But yeah, that's how this started. Minus 3 for Chicago, plus 3 for Minnesota. But that was just opening. Over under 39.5, minus 105 cost for the over. Under is getting 39.5 at minus 115. And always look out for the 105s, especially on the totals, even more than the spreads, but especially the totals. But look out for it for both. That minus 105 hits more so than any other number on the totals and the spreads. Expected value is the measure of what a bettor can expect to win or lose on each bet placed on the same odds time and time again. So we calculate that for that reason. 62% based off this minus 184 money line. 38% based off this plus 154 money line for Chicago. That gives Chicago a negative $3.48 expected value. No team had a positive expected value this week, but Minnesota had minus 3. Well, most weeks they don't, but it happens like when you get a massive underdog to a massive favorite. It happens more so there than any other time, but these are a little bit closer games. Negative $3.26. At 62% win percentage for the Minnesota Vikings. All right. Percentage of the splits. Now these picks will be filled out after this video on the Patreon. Link is in the description. And yeah, 51% of the betting going with the Vikings, 49% going with Chicago, 57% of the money of the spread, 57% going with the Vikings on the spread. They're 3.5-point favorites. 43% going with the Bears. Minnesota, 85% of the betting on the money line going with the Vikings. 15% going with the Bears. 90% of the money going with the Vikings on the money line. 10% of the money going with the Bears on the money line. This is early Sunday morning as of a few hours before the game. 79% going over the 39.5 points on the betting, 21% going under, 64% going over on the money, 36% going under. And the picks will be filled out on the Patreon. Link is in the description. And yeah, let's go to the next game. Tennessee versus Houston. Odds have been reduced. They open like this: plus 222 for the Titans. The Texans are at minus 278. Tennessee currently money line plus 310. Minus 390 for the Texans on the money line. Spread looks like this: plus 7.5 for the Titans at minus 105 cost. Minus 7.5 for Houston at minus 115 cost. And it opened at plus 6.5. Just 1 point off at a cost of minus 120. Most of the openings cost minus 120 at the opening. On the spread, that is. On the spread. Excuse me. At the on. 40.5 minus 115. 40.5 minus 105. And let's go to the expected value. 23% win percentage at plus 310 for the Titans. Gives them 570 expected value. 77% at minus 390 for the Texans gives them $3.26 expected value. And the formula is right here just in case you guys want to find out about it. But yeah, where's the money going? The splits, 30% going with the Titans on the spread. 70% going with Houston on the spread betting. Percentage of money, 45% going with the Titans. 55% of the money going with the Texans on the spread. Money line looks like this. Only 3% going with Tennessee and 2% going with Tennessee on the betting and the money respectively on the money line. Over under looks like this. Over 40.5 points is getting 82% of the betting. Under is getting 18%. Over percentage of money is getting 54%. Under is getting 46%. Let's go to the next game. Kansas City versus Carolina. KC opening money line minus 355. Carolina opening money line at plus 278. Odds have been reduced there. Minus 650 currently on the money line for Kansas City. Plus 480 for Carolina. Kansas City minus 10.5 points at minus 115 cost. Carolina plus 10.5 points at minus 105 cost on the spread. It opened as Kansas City opened as 7.5 point favorites at the universal cost of minus 120. Over under is at 43.5. Minus 102 cost going over, minus 120 going under currently. And based off this minus 650, that gives Kansas City an 83% chance to win. And based off this plus 480, it gives Carolina a 17% chance to win, which results in a negative $1.40 expected value for Carolina, negative $4.23 expected value for Kansas City. Let's go to the splits. All right, spread. Percentage of bets, 78%. 78% going. Percentage of bets on the spread, that is. 78% going with Kansas City. 22% going with Carolina. Percentage of money, 79% of the money going with Kansas City. 21% going with Carolina. Percentage of money line, percentage of bets, 98% and 94%. 98% of the betting going with Kansas City and 94% of the money going with Kansas City. Totals. Sorry about that. 43.5 point total is getting over. Over is getting 84%. Under is getting 16%. Percentage of money. Over is getting 61%. Under is getting 39%. All right, Detroit versus Indianapolis, minus 310 for the Lions, plus 250 for Indianapolis, minus 390 for Detroit, plus 310 for the Colts. As far as the opening money line and the current money line. And the spread looks like this. It opened at 2 point favorites for the Lions at minus 120 cost. 7.5 point favorites are the Lions at minus 104 cost. Indianapolis plus 7.5 at minus 118 cost. Over under 50.5 at minus 105. 50.5 under gets minus 115. And always remember this, minus 105 is a sweet spot. 77% win percentage for Detroit based off this minus 390 current money line, that is. 23% expected win percentage for the Colts at plus 310, which gives them a negative $5.70 expected value, and that gives Detroit Lions a negative $3.26 expected value. All right, percentage. Spread. 81% going on the 7.5 point favorite Lions, getting 81% of the betting. 19% going with the Colts. 40 is just about even on the money. 49% going with the Lions on the spread. 51% going with the Colts, and the money line is sizably one-sided, noticeably one-sided. 95% going with the Lions on the betting. 99% going with them on the money. Over under looks like this. The unders are dominating. Over is getting 28% of the, obviously with the total being over 50 right now, 50.5 points. 28% going over on the betting, 72% going under. Over is getting 31% of the money. Under is getting 69%. 69% of the money going under. All right, let's go with the next one. Picks will be filled out soon on the Patreon. Let me scroll down. All right, New England versus Miami. New England opened at plus 278. Opening money line plus 278, minus 355 for Miami. Plus 290 for the Patriots currently. Minus 360 currently for the Miami Dolphins. They are a 7.5 point favorite on the spread currently at minus 104 cost. New England is plus 7.5 points, 7.5 point underdogs at minus 118 cost. Opening looks like this, a lot like the same, just a different cost. 7.5 point favorites are the Dolphins at minus 120 cost, which is what they opened at. So there's consistency, there's parallels there. Over under 46.5 points. Minus 105 cost going over, minus 115 cost going under. Based off this plus 290 and minus 360, that gives New England a 25% win percentage at negative $2.50 expected value. 75% win percentage for the Dolphins at negative $4.17 expected value. Let's go to the splits. Scroll down. All right. New England, 41% of the spread. Percentage of bets on the spread. 41% going with the Patriots, 59% going with the Dolphins. Percentage of money, 34% going with New England, 66% going with Miami. Money line is one-sided. 93% for Miami, only 7% for the Patriots, and that goes the same for the money and the betting. Over, under, 27% going over, 73% going under, 23% going over, 77% going under in this game. Let me scroll down. We will go to the next one. Tampa Bay versus New York. All right. Minus 115 cost. Opening money line for the Buccaneers. Minus 105. So it started as a pick'em game. Minus 270 for the Buccaneers. Plus 220 for the Giants. Also, Tampa Bay spread minus 5.5 points. Minus 118 cost. Going with Tampa Bay. Plus 5.5 for the Giants. Minus 104 cost going there. As I said, it started as a pick'em game. As you can see, it opened at Tampa Bay only opened at 1 point favorite at minus 110 cost. Over under is currently at 40.5 points at minus 112 cost going over, minus 108 going under. And based off the minus 270 current money line for the Buccaneers, plus 220 for the Giants, that gives the Buccaneers a 70% chance to win at negative $4.07 expected value. That plus 220 gives the Giants a 30% chance to win at a negative $4 expected value. Just about even on the EV. And as you can see, the percentages really are on the top of the screen. If you want to see them right here, 92% going with Tampa Bay on the money line, 97% going with the money on Tampa Bay on the money line, 83% going with Tampa Bay on the spread percentage of bets, 89% of the money going with Tampa Bay, 86% going over on the 40.5 points, 65% going over 40.5 points on the total. And we're going to go on to the next one, Dallas versus Seattle. We scroll back up. Dallas versus Washington, excuse me. Dallas opening money line at minus 190, plus 158 opening money line for the Commanders. That has since flipped significantly. Plus 430 underdogs or the Cowboys on the money line, minus 560 money line for Washington. Plus 10.5 spread, 10.5 point underdogs or the Cowboys at minus 110 cost. Minus 10.5 points for Washington at minus 110 cost. Sorry about that. Opens at minus 3.5 points are the Cowboys. They open as a favorite on the money line and the spread at minus 120 cost. Washington was at 3.5 point underdogs opening. Over under looks like this: 44.5 points going over. And over under 44.5 points, minus 115 cost going over, minus 105 cost, the sweet spot, of course, going under. Those hit more so than not. Those minus 105s, if it remains that way, headed toward kickoff. All right, 18% chance to win are the Cowboys, 82% chance to win are the Washington Commanders based off this minus 56 and plus 430. Money line. Cost. All right. Minus 336 expected value for Washington. Sorry about that. Minus 460 expected value for Dallas in this game. And formulas right here and the definitions right here. And let's go over these splits real quick. Let me scroll down. All right. 29% of the betting going with the Cowboys on the spread, 71% going with Washington, 31% of the money going with Dallas, 69% going with Washington on the spread, 93% going with Washington, percentage of bets, 92% of the money going with Washington on the money line. Money line 93 and 92 betting and the money going with Washington. Over under 44.5 points. Over is getting 78% of the betting. Under is getting 22%. Percentage of money. Over is getting 68%. Under is getting 32% on the total. But yeah, that's how this went. And yeah, let's go with the next game. Those are the current splits for the Cowboys Commanders game. Let me scroll down to the Denver Las Vegas game. All right, Denver opening money line at minus 155. The Raiders open at plus 130. Minus 245 currently for the Broncos, so they definitely went up in value to these sports books. Raiders went up in their respective direction to plus 200. Spread minus 5.5 at minus 110 cost. Raiders at plus 5.5 at minus 110 cost. 1.5 point favorites, which is what the Raiders began at, minus 1.5 points. They opened as a favorite, despite being a dog on the money line opening at minus 120 cost. Over under 41.5 points. Minus 105 going over. Cost, that is. Minus 115 going under. And of course, you know about the minus 105s. Keep that in mind. Hopefully it remains that way by the time the bets go in, the ending of the bets go in, almost just before kickoff. All right, 68% win percentage based off this minus 245 for the Broncos. 32% win percentage at based off this plus 200. That gives the Raiders a negative $4 expected value, and that gives the Broncos a negative $4.24 expected value. So once again, just about even on the expected value. Once again, picks will be filled out on the Patreon. Just remember that link is in the description and in the video. 72% based off this 5.5 point spread, going with the Broncos. 28% going with of the betting going with the Raiders. 82% of the money going with the Broncos. 18% going with the Raiders on the spread. Money line, 92% going with the Broncos. 8% going with the betting, that is, going with the Raiders. 94% of the money going with the Broncos. 6% going with the Raiders. Total percentage of bets: over getting 81%, under getting 19%. Percentage of money: over getting 61%, under getting 39%. All right, Arizona versus Seattle. Plus 135 at opening money line for the Cardinals. Let me scroll down. Alrighty. Plus 135 for the Cardinals. Minus 160 opening for the Seahawks. Currently, it is a pick'em game. Minus 108, minus 108, as you can see. It has turned into a pick'em game. And that reduced from the opening. 3-point favorites were the Seahawks. Now it is 1.5 point favorites are the Seahawks. So making this a legitimate pick'em game somewhat for the most part. Minus 120 cost going with Arizona on the spread. Minus 102 going with Seattle on the spread. 47.5 points at minus 110 cost going over. 47.5 points at minus 110 cost going under. 50-50. Arizona 50% win percentage, 50% win percentage, all based off this minus 108, obviously. So it's even. Minus $3.70 expected value for the Cardinals. Same thing with the Seahawks, because it's even. The odds are even. And the win percentages. Therefore, the win percentages are even. 53% of the betting on the spread going with the underdog Cardinals. 47% going with the Seahawks. Percentage of money, 41% going with the Cardinals. 59% going with the Seahawks. Percentage of bets, 44% going with the Cardinals. 56% going with the Seahawks on the money line. Money line percentage of money, 68% going with the Cardinals. 32% going with the Seahawks. Percentage of bets total: over is getting 73%, under is getting 27%. Percentage of money: over is getting 82%, under is getting 18% of the 47.5 point total. And that cost is even at minus 110. Let me scroll down. All right, San Francisco versus Green Bay. All right, San Francisco opening money line at minus 145. Green Bay opens at plus 122 on the money line. San Francisco current money line plus 205, minus 250 for the Packers. So it has since flipped. San Francisco opened as a favorite. Now they're a dog. Plus 250, minus 250 is Green Bay on the money line. Currently, the spread is like this: 5.5 point favorites are the Packers at minus 110 cost. 2.5 point favorites is what San Francisco started at. They started as 2.5 point favorites, just like they started at minus 145. So they started as a legitimate favorite. Now they're a dog in this one. 44.5 points is the total at minus 105 cost. 44.5 points at minus 115 cost going under. 105 going over. Win percentages. Expected value based off this: plus 205, minus 250. That gives San Francisco a 31% chance to win. That gives Green Bay a 69% chance to win. And that gives Green Bay a negative $3.40 expected value. And that gives the 49ers a negative $5.45 expected value. All right, where's the money going? San Francisco gets 61%. Green Bay gets 39%. Percentage of money, 45% going with San Francisco, 55% going with Green Bay. Percentage of bets, money line, 35% going with the 49ers, 65% going with Green Bay. Percentage of money, 36% going with the 49ers, 64% going with Green Bay on the money line. So the favorite is getting the favorite amount of the on the splits on the money line. Over under. The under is dominating this 44.5 point total. Over is getting 24% of the betting, 76% going under. Percentage of money, 29% going over, 71% going under. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, the night game. Yeah, the night game. Philadelphia versus LA Rams. The Eagles open at minus 150 cost. The Rams open at plus 125 cost. Currently, Philadelphia's money line is minus 152. The Rams' current money line is plus 128. Spread looks like this. Eagles open at 3-point favorites, minus 120, plus 3 at minus 120 for the Rams opening. Currently, is the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites, gone down half a point, and minus 120 cost. Costs remain the same. And the Rams opened, currently at 2.5-point underdogs at minus 102 cost. All right. If you see this go down any, then you may want to go with the Eagles on the spread. Just letting you know, this minus 102 is very low. So, sorry about that. Over under. 48.5 points at minus 115 cost. 48.5 points at minus 105 cost. Going under. Win percentages based off this minus 152 plus 128 for the Rams. That gives the Eagles a 58% chance to win, and the Rams a 42% chance to win, which gives the Rams a negative $4.24 expected value, and that gives the Eagles a negative $3.84 expected value. All right, splits. Go back up, go back up, go back up. All right. Splits. 57%. 57% of the betting on the spread, 2.5-point favorites are the Eagles. Going with the Eagles, 57%, 43% going with the Rams. Percentage of money, 69% going with the Eagles, 31% going with the Rams. Moneyline percentage of bets, 85% going with the Eagles, 15% going with the Rams. Percentage of money, 82% going with the Eagles, and 18% going with the Rams. Total percentage of bets, over, under. Over is getting 30% of the 48.5 point total, which is relatively high. And they're probably trying to bait you into going under. Just keep that in mind. However, the under is getting that minus 105. So 70% going with the under on the betting. Over is getting 37% of the money. Under is getting 63% of the money. And yeah, those are the odds. We go over this. We compare them to earlier in the week, how we get our picks, and how the odds adjust throughout the week based off the different splits at that period of time. And that's how we get our picks. They're on the Patreon. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys take care. I've been Scott. Pray every day. Join the Patreon. And yeah.